speaking from his residence in Leesburg, 531 East Main, on June 24th, 1982. My full name is Otto Victor Pawlish. I was born in North Freedom, Wisconsin on March 12th, 1898, the seventh child in a family of 8 children. My father, Carl, and his wife, Ottilia, O-T-T-E-L-I-E, both came to this country from Germany in 1889. My father followed his trade as carpenter and builder and has made many notable accomplishments, the most notable being building of the North Freedom Baptist Church in 1900. I attended both the North Freedom grade and high schools and graduated in 1915. I was employed 6 years in secretarial work at that time, first for the Chicago Northwestern Railway in the division offices, if you can get that right, at Baraboo, later at the offices of the Santa Fe Railroad in Amarillo, Texas, and later at the Ford Motor Company in Detroit. I also worked as bookkeeper in the Harbison Walker Quarries at LaRue. I resumed school at Lewis Institute in Chicago in 1919, taking pre-medical work. I entered the Illinois University Medical College in Chicago in 1921 and graduated in 1925. I had a rotating internship at the Lutheran Memorial Hospital in Chicago, which lasted until 1926. Then I was employed as an industrial physician for the Crane Company in Chicago for 1 year. We moved to Reedsburg, Wisconsin in May 1927, where I started a general practice and have been there continuously since that time. We utilized at first the old hospital. It was owned by Dr. Edwards and Jones, which has now been closed. And then later on to the older Reedsburg Hospital in 1933, and then later on to the present. I occupied the first offices in the Hahn Building on Main Street, and after 25 years there, moved across the street to the offices above the Farmers and Merchants Building, Farmers and Merchants Bank Building, which I still occupy and keep open Monday and Friday afternoon. Many changes have taken place in the practice of medicine since those early days of the 1920s. For example, practically all of our baby cases were handled in the home, and long hours were spent waiting and delivering the babies at that time. Mrs. Pawlish accompanied many times on these confinement cases, and sometimes she would be alone while I was making another call and would have to do the delivery herself. House calls were made many times, and many times out in the country. The roads weren't always paved. Sometimes the mud was quite deep on the muddy road. Sometimes in the wintertime when the snow was deep, we had to go partway by team and either bobsleds or buggy. We used to take plenty of blankets along to keep warm when we were riding in some of the practice of medicine. Otherwise, it changed quite a bit. Antibiotics were not known in those days. Pneumonia was a great killer in the 1920s. 1 in 5 would usually die. We had no antibiotics or sulfurs until 1940. Sulfur came first, later on penicillin, and then the other antibiotics. Another finding that came in about that time was that of insulin, which made a great change in the handling of our diabetic people. Since the addition of insulin, we've also had oral diabetic tablets, which have been a great help for those who did not have to take the insulin by hypo. Another change with the finding of liver and B12 being of value in the treatment of pernicious anemia. There were a great many cases of this in the studies in the Reedsburg area, and now they are handled quite well with the B12 shots. Another field that we did not have at that time was the use of diuretics to remove fluid from the body, which accumulated when the hearts were weak. In the early days, we used to so-called tap the chest or tap the abdomen and remove quarts of fluid, which are now easily removed by the use of the Lasix and other diuretics, which can be given both orally and by hypo. We see very little TB these days. I have not seen a case of mastitis for a long time. The newer antibiotics have helped to hold us down, and also the incidence of rheumatic fever. Another advance has been in the use of antidepressant drugs. We had very little to help these people in those days. Then came the era of shock treatments, and now the newer antidepressant drugs are very effective and helpful. The hospital has changed considerable. In the early days, the only anesthetic we had was ether or chloroform. Now we have the newer anesthetics, which are given many times by hypo, or at least started by hypo. We have all types of consultants available now in the hospital for rheumatic troubles, cardiac troubles, and bone and disease. Practice has become easier. In the early days, there was no insurance, there were no welfare cases, there was no Medicaid, and we oftentimes took either no payment at all or occasionally a quarter of beef or some other farm products to help pay the bills. Besides activities in the medical field, which I still keep up to some extent, I am still on the staff of the 3 nursing homes in the area, but am no longer active on the full staff of the Reedsburg Hospital. I was quite active in civic affairs and served for many years on the Reedsburg School Board. Was also county coroner for 15 years. Was the director of the Reedsburg Development Corporation, which brought many industries to Reedsburg, and also had been a director of the F&M Bank for many years. I have been interested in conservation matters for many years and have been helpful in establishing many conservation areas, both in South County and through the state. We have been instrumental in securing a portion of the Rocky Gorge in the Abelman Narrows to be enjoyed for future posterity. Another hobby of mine has been tennis. I've been active in this for many years, helped get different ones started in the playing of tennis, and through activities were able to get several courts built, especially those on Oak Street, which still bear my name. I have played in national tournaments in the older age group with varying success. In 1975, I was ranked number 7 in Florida in the 75-year-old group, and in 1980, I was ranked 18th nationally in the 80-year-old group. I still play tennis about 3 times a week and hope to continue playing in the tournament. In 1981, it was a pleasure to be selected with Mrs. Pawlish as King and Queen of the Butter Festival, and we enjoyed that very much. Mrs. Pawlish has been helpful to me throughout all the years. She was a graduate in 1925 of St. Luke's Nursing Home in Chicago. Some of the children. We have had 3 sons. The oldest, Carl, is a geologist in Alaska, has been working on the Alaska gas pipeline. Paul, the middle one, is Dr. Philosophy and is president of the National Malting Barley Improvement Association. And the third, our baby Jim, is a dentist at Middleton. We spend some of our time in the winter at Naples, Florida, where we have an apartment. We have been going there for 3 short sessions winter, and hope to spend more time there now as our retirement becomes more extensive. It has been a pleasure to be in Reedsburg all these years amongst all the friends, and to be of help where I could in medical and civic